For an 18-year-old male in society today, what does life look like? High school days are nearly over, and you can't wait to say goodbye to NCEA and Roman sandals. Facebook is the way to learn about what's new, and you're constantly at the pantry because you're always hungry. You don't really know much about New Zealand's past experiences with war because you take automotive at school and not history. But it's not a big deal because most 18-year-old males in society today will never be New Zealanders at war. So it doesn't matter, right? For an 18-year-old male of the late 30s and early 40s, what did life look like? High school days never existed, as you were deprived education due to the Depression and the need for you to work. And Roman sandals, they would have been a luxury. There was no such thing as Facebook to keep you updated, and food supplies were scarce and expensive, so yes, you were always hungry. You knew everything about New Zealand's past experiences with war because you had to live through the aftermath of World War I. You see, most 18-year-old males of the late 30s and early 40s would eventually become New Zealanders at war. For Charles Shelford of Tikaha, Bay of Plenty, this was his childhood. Born in 1921 and growing up in the Depression, he was only educated up to Standard 3 as he was needed to work on the farm to earn money for his family. January 1940. An opportunity stands before him, a chance to receive the mana and respect of his nation. One large billboard on the side of the town hall, 2 words, and Charlie knows what to do. It's war, it read simply. 2 months after New Zealand declared war on Germany, 1939, young Charlie the farmhand was enlisted as a soldier with the 28th Māori Battalion, despite lying about his age in order to become a New Zealander at war. But working on the farm hadn't prepared Charlie for this, and the discipline that was demanded of him at training was a foreign concept. When his battalion buttoned their uniform and farewelled Aotearoa, May 1940, ill-disciplined Charlie was left behind. It took him 6 months to prove himself, and in November 1940, he embarked on his first mission. Charlie was far from perfect. Charlie was a bit of a ratbag, but Charlie was still a hero. For it was the farmhand from Tikaha who threw the grenade which silenced the Italian trenches and ended enemy resistance in Libya, December 14th, 1941. His superiors put him forward to receive a Victoria Cross for his bravery, an award which honoured the efforts of a man that we remember today, Cyril Bassett. However, Charlie only received a DCM, a downgrade which shocked his lieutenant, who said Charlie was our bravest and he deserved recognition as such. On returning to New Zealand, he lived a standard life and died at the age of 63. But he could always know that for that one mission, he had been their bravest, a significant servant to his nation, December 14th, 1941. In society today, many men are similar to Charlie, eager to prove themselves, to have an adventure, willing to bend the rules. But, unlike Charlie, our men are offered something that he never was: education. Our young men have not lost their fathers, uncles, brothers, friends in the First World War as the men of that time had. Our young men today choose to enlist, not like the men of Charlie's era, who had expectation on their young shoulders and the voice of duty ringing in their ears. Our young men are not needed, nor expected, as Charlie was, to serve the country at war. Well, is that entirely true? Last October, the New Zealand Defence Force issued this statement. The troops are ready to deploy. Hopefully they won't be necessary, but it is better to be prepared should they be needed. Was this in preparation for a war, a call for young men to come to the battlefront, a chance to save lives? Yes. This was in preparation for a war on the environment. A call for young men to be on the ecological battlefront, a chance to save lives of innocent animals and creatures. You see, this statement was issued in regards to the Rena disaster, which was and still is a war of a different kind in my own natural backyard. A soldier is a soldier to serve. That is the bottom line. It is the nature of service, however, which changes with circumstance and requirement. The way that Charlie was needed in the 1940s was by fighting in World War II, whereas the way today's soldiers are required is to clean up oil on the beaches of Papamoa. My 20-year-old friend, Dan from Tauranga, was one of these men with a shovel in his hand last October. Having enlisted as an 18-year-old, Dan was fully dressed in his army uniform on the beach, working for days. Our pristine beaches, integral to our identity as a city, stained with the deadly black blood of a sleeping giant. The casualties were not as tragic as those of World War II, but the Rena disaster brought a wave of destruction upon the wildlife and livelihoods of my region. Systematically scraping, sweating and sweltering, soldiers like Dan served. He won't receive a Victoria Cross or ever be remembered by the RSA for his efforts, but he was there when New Zealand needed him. You see, whether it is a war of nations or a war on nature, a soldier is a soldier to serve. In the uncertain times that we live, who knows what wars may arise in the future that need the service of our young men, like Dan, to join our fellow countrymen currently serving overseas. But he will be ready. And who knows? Perhaps he too will be an unsung hero of the future, an icon of service and remembered as their bravest. You see, most 18-year-old males in our society today will never be enlisted as soldiers. But some will be, and some already are. The 21st century New Zealanders at war. A soldier is a soldier to serve.